Why is it that I'm so full of hate? Why am I so dumb but so afraid? Have I ever tried to understand? Did I listen to the other hand? Why am I so dumb?
X-Men Days of Future Past. You know I had to come back to do a spoiler video for this. Let's get right into it. The future. When you see at the beginning of the movie and you see what the future looks like, wow. And I know in one sense it's depressing for the mutants that they've all been getting wiped out, and you see which mutants are left and it's just like, fuck, you know, they're all about to get extinct. But not only that, when you think about it, the humans, like, what have they put themselves through to try to win this war? Because the world looks unlivable. No matter who wins, it's like this future sucks for everyone. And the Black Sentinels, they're not the huge robot giant ones, but these are Sentinels that are sort of like the next level. The ones that have had Mystique's power integrated in it so it can absorb mutant powers, it can change themselves to combat mutants. Like, these guys are just Terminators, and they're unstoppable. There's so many scenes with them going after mutants. I'm like, how the hell are they going to stop these Sentinels? They can't. At the beginning, I was confused on what Kitty Pryde did with Bishop, like when they're in that room and she's over his head and she says too late to the Sentinels coming in to kill them, and then they disappear. I'm like, okay, so was this an illusion? Was there some trick going on? But then eventually you find out, no, Kitty Pryde has somehow this ability to go back in time, or to send somebody's consciousness back in time, so that negates that future. And I guess originally she could do it for only a couple months. I've never known Kitty Pryde to do that, to be able to do that. But hey, if you have to contrive something for this plot, whatever, I'm for it. It made Kitty Pryde feel important to the story, even though she couldn't be the main character like in the comic book. Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, you can't say any better things about those actors. It's almost like when you look at this cast, you realize just how great the actors in the X-Men franchise are. Is it a little annoying that they didn't explain how Professor X came back from X-Men 3? Yeah. I mean, you can just assume that anyone that got hit with the cure wore off. That's how I explain Magneto and whatnot. But Professor X, I think we needed some type of explanation. Now, when Wolverine goes into the past, the most interesting thing, or at least one of, was seeing young Professor X, James McAvoy, the way he was taking this drug and how he was like a junkie. And the drug was to help him walk again. It was for his spine. But him doing that took away his mutant powers. And there's a part of him, at least it seems like, that is happy to be rid of these powers because he doesn't like to constantly be in people's heads and hear it and just kind of feel their pain constantly. And I've never seen Professor X like this. I've never seen him so vulnerable. I've never seen him so angry, just so almost mad against the world, that this was almost needed for me to love this character that much more. I've always appreciated him when he was Patrick Stewart in the other movies, but he was never a guy I could relate to. James McAvoy, I'm like, wow, I totally get the shit he's going through. Now, I admit I'm going to have to eat my words here. A lot of people who saw Quicksilver, the way he looked on the cover of that magazine, saw his jacket, the goggles, we just was like, what the fuck is this shit? This is horrible. There Fox goes again, messing up the X-Men franchise, messing up an X-Men character. Lame, lame, lame. And then what do you know? We watch the movie, and Quicksilver ends up being probably one of the coolest characters in the movie, if not at least having the best, most memorable action scene in the movie. He was charismatic. You loved seeing him use his powers and even his point of view for what the world looks like when he is in his fast mode and everything in slow motion, and just how hilarious it was. I also loved how one, not only changing the future, but also the big thing in this movie was trying to save Mystique's soul, almost. How she was going in this dark path to kill Trask, and Professor X especially wanted to stop her from doing it, to save her. And then you have Magneto, who I honestly trusted the guy. When they broke him out and he seemed like he was really going to play ball this time, like an idiot, I believed him. But no, of course you find out Magneto has his own thing. He has his own plans. He first tries to kill Mystique, which was an awesome scene when he shot the gun and then he used his powers to make the bullet follow her out the window. Just, I loved everything about that. Also, this really shocked me. Finding out that Azazel, Angel, and Emma Frost are now dead. They just have been wiped out during, I guess, the testing of Trask's Sentinel project. I was floored when Mystique was reading those articles and seeing their pictures, and it's like they're all dead. We're like, really? We just killed them off screen? Emma Frost? I mean, I didn't care for January Jones either as that character, but still, I thought we could have got something more out of the character. I guess not. Young William Stryker, I remember when I first saw that he was going to be in this movie, I rolled my eyes, like, why does Stryker have to be in every X-Men movie? He's a great human villain for the mutants, but still, we've already got the best we got with Brian Cox. But seeing what they did with him here, I actually really loved it. It's a small enough part, but when Wolverine comes face to face with him, and it just brings all of those memories of things that technically hasn't happened yet, but still, it's like it's a weird connection of Wolverine's consciousness going through these events that in this body, in this time, it hasn't happened yet, and it messes him up. I love that. The line when Magneto says, because I actually like the idea of Magneto being in custody because of him killing JFK, him being the one behind it. I love that idea. But when he says that he was actually trying to save him because JFK is a mutant, I didn't know anyone in the theater who didn't laugh at that. It's really silly. I get what they're going for. The actor that they had playing Nixon in this movie was just kind of hilarious. Between his voice, the way he looked, it was almost a parody of Nixon. I laughed every time he talked, though. And I really loved the moment towards the end when Magneto, he put metal inside of the Sentinels and he's controlling them. Just Magneto turning full evil. The villain. I know you could say that we could be sick of seeing Magneto as the villain in these X-Men movies because he is always the villain. But Michael Fassbender, and just the way how they smartly use Magneto as the villain, how there's more layers and dimensions to him. And I know it's been announced that they're going to do another Wolverine movie, so maybe I'm super naive by this, but when Magneto stuck all of those poles inside Wolverine, now this is Wolverine pre the adamantium metal, he stuck the poles in them with cement, and then he shoved them all the way across into the water, and Wolverine sank. And I'm sitting there like, are they really about to kill Wolverine now? Is this their way of almost getting rid of the Wolverine character because of the rumors of maybe Hugh Jackman was thinking about quitting? And I was really buying that Wolverine might die. Call me an idiot, but I had that thought until, of course, when they get him out of the water, he just wakes up. I still don't understand how this works. Like, I know he's not easy to kill, but I assume that if he drowns, he would die, but I guess he'll just wake up. Weird. This isn't really the last scene, but when Wolverine wakes up in the future, the new future, the saved future, and he sees the school. Rogue, finally. I mean, we didn't get Rogue in the other future stuff, so who knows what happened to her there. I know her scenes were cut, but still, like, logically, I wonder what happened to her. But seeing Anna Paquin back, that was super cool. Jean Grey, Famke Janssen, standing there. I couldn't help but go, wow. They're really doing it. But then when Scott James Marsden is there. I'm like, fucking A. It's literally the best way to end this movie, this series. It almost felt like you could have ended the whole X-Men franchise like this, with the characters that we know and love almost back intact, back the way that it should have been. Like, let's undo the Brett Ratner movie, X-Men Last Stand. Fuck that. I wouldn't even mind if not only for us to get Apocalypse, but then let's get a real X-Men 3, the real Phoenix story, but Bryan Singer's version of it. Also, the line when Wolverine says to Professor X, like, fill me in on these number of years that I don't remember. And it looked like Xavier was going to tell him what's been happening. It's almost like that's the setup to do other movies in the past. Like Xavier telling Wolverine, hey, this is what happened here, this is what happened there. But technically, this is our chance to reboot the series without really rebooting it. You can now do over so much in the timeline, anything that was fucked up. X-Men Origins Wolverine, you could redo that the right way. Weapon X, like we could really do Deadpool and all of these certain characters right. We don't have to, but the fact that we can now is awesome. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below with some spoiler talk now. What did you think of X-Men Days of Future Past? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Later!